100 million soldiers massed in a single valley, creating a front line that stretched beyond the horizon's edge. This staggering figure comes directly from the Mahabharata, a meticulously detailed Sanskrit manuscript documenting ancient history. The text presents a strange contradiction. It describes a pre-industrial society executing military operations with the precision, logistics, and lethality of modern warfare. Initially, these armies operated under dharmayuddha, a strict doctrine of just war. These rules required absolute proportionality, meaning cavalry could only attack other cavalry, and combatants were explicitly forbidden from using barbed arrows or striking unarmed foes. The sheer volume of troops pressed onto the battlefield, combined with the rapid introduction of advanced weapon technologies, made those honorable rules impossible to enforce. The conflict rapidly devolved into devastating total war. The texts detail the exact mechanics of how these massive armies were organized. Commanders deployed vyuhas, complex geometric troop formations that functioned as highly coordinated, massive tactical chess pieces across the battlefield. This diagram shows the Makara, or crocodile formation. It was specifically engineered to advance steadily and crush the outer flanks of an opposing static enemy line using a wide enveloping maneuver. To counter it, the opposing side deployed the Sayena, or hawk formation. This wedge-shaped arrangement was designed to pierce directly into the vulnerable center of the Makara, breaking its forward momentum. When armies needed to break through the absolute densest troop concentrations, they relied on the Vajra, or thunderbolt formation. This acted as a highly concentrated, multi-layered spearhead meant to shatter fortified defensive lines on impact. Synchronizing these shifting, multi-layered formations with millions of soldiers on the ground requires highly advanced command and control communication systems. Executing such maneuvers is physically impossible without a sophisticated method of relaying real-time orders. Historical artistic records attempt to capture the chaotic reality of these engagements. They illustrate the incredibly dense clustering of cavalry, elephants, and infantry, constantly shifting against each other in close-quarters combat. These formations were not primitive brawls, but mathematical systems of multi-flank defense that required the same synchronized discipline found in professional modern regiments. Beyond ground geometry, the war relied heavily on a specialized ballistic layer, the deployment of Astras, or invoked weaponry. The text described the Brahma weapon as a devastating kinetic penetrator. Upon impact, it carried enough kinetic energy to completely pierce heavy armor and bury itself deep into the earth. The Vayavya weapon used atmospheric pressure to create localized shockwaves, lifting and destroying heavy iron chariots in an instant. To neutralize the Vayavya, commanders deployed the silo weapon as a specific tactical countermeasure. Its sole function was to counteract that severe atmospheric pressure and immediately abate the destructive wind force. The resulting destruction is thoroughly documented. The manuscripts record specific environmental damage, completely vaporized military units, and literal streams of blood flowing through the scarred terrain. By focusing on the specific physics of the impact, the thermal flash and kinetic shock, these texts record a level of mechanical destruction rarely seen before the modern era. The war eventually reached a breaking point. When physical ballistics proved insufficient, commanders authorized terrifying psychological warfare and asymmetric night tactics to break their enemies. They deployed the pramohana weapon, which operated similarly to a modern nerve agent. The texts state it confounded the senses of opposing troops and entirely stripped them of their physical strength. Tactical illusions created a thick darkness that shattered morale, causing soldiers to see their own allies as slaughtered enemies. By the end of the 18-day war, over 100 million people were dead. This staggering loss of life eradicated an entire generation of leaders and warriors, triggering an immediate, total sociological collapse. This collapse introduced the Kali Yuga. The texts explicitly identify this era as a period of profound moral and civilizational decay, triggered entirely by this specific, catastrophic military event. The Kurukshetra War remains an ancient, terrifying blueprint of unchecked military escalation. It leaves a permanent historical scar that proves the ultimate, devastating cost of total war. If you want to explore more ancient historical texts decoded, hit subscribe and let us know your thoughts in the comments.